Welcome back to No Crime After Dark, where we have to talk about crime in the daytime usually, but for the last 2 or 3 weeks, it's been in the nighttime. She's been doing okay. She's,
I think it's like I can talk about it, but like if I had to watch it, like I really don't want to watch murder.
and I guess this one wasn't as gory. Like it was a lot of detail, but it wasn't as visual as you have become to prefer lately to be as scary as you
No,
are.
I want the good stuff. Don't give me that dramatization. Give me the real live body cam.
And she's so serious. She want to see
The
the
gore.
police photos and footage, and people think I'm the crazy one in this duo. Anyway, uh, the girl in the picture was our last 2 episodes. Shout out to me for doing my job, but not completely. Got it edited, got it downloaded, didn't upload it to YouTube till about an hour and a half ago.
Such a good. I love it.
Like I always say, don't judge me, judge your mama.
Need to be judged. Some daughters need to be
we
judged.
not, we not, we not, we not, we just not, we not.
Because
No, trying to get back on track. Last week was like I guess you could say fall cleaning for me because I'm in the Midwest and we have real seasons, so I had to like dust and all those things because I'm finna be indoors like a polar bear, or not even a polar bear, a brown bear because they out in the winter. A brown bear,
yeah.
in the wintertime. Straight necessities: work, grocery store,
Oh, gas
home.
station. Yeah,
Gas
yeah.
station, gotta get gas station, home, because all the bills can be paid online or in the Dropbox. So yeah. So last week's episode was supposed to be part two, or is part two, but I just, like I said, an hour and a half ago, I just uploaded it. That is on the page currently. You can go look at that now. And when I say now, this is 7:40 Midwestern time, Wednesday,
20th.
September 20th.
Yeah.
I was looking at my little thing. I don't need your help. Um, anyway, today's topic of conversation.
It was just one that I stumbled upon. I
Because
thought
she really was like, I don't watch this, I don't watch this, I don't watch that. I don't watch all these seasons. This new season don't start till next week. I don't know what
right.
I'm
I need American Monster to come back. Like, come on.
Yeah,
I just stumbled upon this one. Mind Over Murder on HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
Yeah. It was.
I was able to binge it at work. 4 out of 6 episodes. That's some dedication.
I mean, on a day that you were already ticked off about work, so.
Oh, they just gave me the motivation to say, all I'm doing today is what's due today.
All I'm doing today is watching my crime today, okay?
I gotta stay late Friday because of yesterday anyway, so I'm finna kick it today. So, but like she said, the name of it is Mind Over Murder. While I was waiting on you, I should have wrote down everybody, but y'all gonna figure out who was who throughout the story. We literally have a team of suspects, of prosecutors, of attorneys. Like it's so many people involved. I'm glad the story was simple enough to follow.
Yes.
Like it was not as much as the last couple stories we did, but girl in the picture,
Natalia
Grace, yeah. Aaron Carter wasn't, I guess, that complicated.
No, it wasn't that complicated.
But between Natalia Grace and girl in the picture, both of those were two-parters.
We're like back. It was like all over the place.
Yeah, it was just all it was everywhere. But this is kind of, I don't feel like they spread the timelines out as much with this as we normally find. They want to start in 1962 and then jump to 1997 and then back to 1986. It would be too much.
It was more people talking and less of like a timeline, like follow along. It was more like this happened.
Just telling the story.
Now let's figure it out. Like, yeah. Right, yeah.
I could have did without the actors in the play and all that.
At the end, you do know why the actors did play a part.
Yeah.
Right.
They still could have left them out.
Though we are gonna laugh and we're gonna say some silly crap. This woman was murdered. She was someone's mom. She was someone's grandma, and it is still a sad thing. But who would we be not to laugh at these?
I was about to say, I feel like that's no different. We always give a disclaimer every video. We don't mean no harm. We're not disrespectful. We're not disregarding anybody's life. Nothing like that.
We're not laughing at Helen.
We're laughing at the actions of the people that did the ridiculous things that made absolutely no sense to us.
Right, exactly.
Because we got one. Y'all gonna find out. We got one in particular. Good grief. And even that's not a laughing matter, but let's go ahead. Okay. So I got confused. Not gonna shine on this day. Okay. I know it was the 5th of 1985 of somebody's month. The month I caught was September.
No, it was February 5th.
Okay, somebody said something about September, and I feel like it was old boy. We're gonna get into him in a second. But I feel like he said September, but then when I saw a legal document, it said February. Okay, so I wasn't tripping.
February 5th, 1985.
Oh, shut up! Go in your bed.
Damn.
Sorry, y'all. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. What was you saying?
No, it was February 5th, 1985.
Okay, so this event took place February 5th, 1985. It at least started the proceedings of the event was at around 9:00 on February 5th, 1985. The victim in question is Helen Wilson. Did you catch her age? I was at work again.
Yes. Don't shit. She was 60 something.
I want to say 60. Huh?
I think she was 68.
Okay, so we're gonna assume allegedly
mid-60s.
Boom. With mid-60s, Helen Wilson was, because like I said, but I think both of us was working when we was taking notes. Oh yeah, we still accurate. Just you trying to do your job and listen.
68. She was the glue to the family.
Okay, see, somebody got it. So she was 68 years old. And on this particular night, apparently she had pneumonia. Like she said, she was the glue of the family, so everybody at Granny house, because we some granny babies, so we was always at Granny house. So this particular night, she wasn't feeling well. She was in Scottsbluff at the time visiting family, and left early because she wasn't feeling good.
So this is where you come in and let us know how far things were, because I did try to look up some stuff, because I was like, well, she was at the grandson's house, then she went back to Beatrice, and like I was just trying to figure well, how long is that drive? Is she driving?
So my assumption, because I didn't even think to look that up, but actually we can look that up now. But my guesstimation from Omaha, because I'm in Iowa, so that's a big difference.
Well, but I know
so we'll say between Lincoln and Beatrice have to be close together, because a good portion of this happened in Lincoln. So I would give Beatrice probably about the same 45 minutes from Lincoln, 45 minutes to an hour maybe from Lincoln, because Lincoln is about 45 minutes to an hour from Omaha. So I'm going to ballpark 2 to 2.5 hours, 3 tops probably. So 2 to 3 hours, just guesstimating, because like I said, Lincoln is only, depending on the traffic,
I was saying. I was like,
to an hour.
Wherever the grandson lived, he had to be close, because no one's letting their 60-year-old grandma leave at 7:00 at night to go home. You know what I mean? Like that's just, they would give a medicine and put him to bed. So I'm like, it has to be like 45 minutes at the most.
Yeah. Based on the fact that everything happened in Beatrice, Nebraska, but court, trial, all of that was in Lincoln, lets me know they can't be that far apart from each other. Because just like Omaha, Omaha is the major city, but then you got Council Bluffs, well, that's Iowa, but Council Bluffs, Bellevue, West Omaha, South Omaha, Gretna. It's just like San Diego, La Jolla. You got all your
So I get it.
Beatrice might, like I told you, it's a hick town. I've heard of it, but I ain't never been, because it don't seem like it's us friendly.
It's a town that's not.
It's not us friendly.
Yeah, okay. Don't say hick.
They can take us however they want to take it. It's not us friendly.
You didn't say anyway. Us. You said hick.
Huh?
You didn't say us. You said hick.
That's
what you said us. Don't say hick.
It's not a us town, but it's like it can be us in the town to still be a hick town.
Don't say hick town.
If we ain't got banned yet.
That is true.
Okay. Hick town ain't gonna be what get us kicked off.
You're right. You are right. But I don't have time.
Anybody from the Midwest or the country know what a hick town can be? Anything. A hick town can literally be a gas station that has a built-in grocery store, auto body shop, and restaurant all in one.
And that's a town that just is a hick. Okay, gotcha.
Oh, anyway, we're getting off subject because we got a lot to cover. So anyway, Katie and Daryl. Katie was the auntie. Daryl was her husband.
Where the hell are you at?
The very beginning, because that was who was at the house with her that night having the coffee.
Oh no, Daryl was not her husband. It was her son. Daryl is the grandson. Katie is the daughter.
Okay, got you.
Gotcha.
I just caught the names. But they spent the evening. This was apparently a daily thing. They would watch TV. They would have some coffee. Just chilling with Granny. That's what you do. You chill with Granny. So, but again, she wasn't feeling well. So she was like, my bad. Sorry, but I ain't feeling too good. I'm just finna call it a night. Mm-hmm. So Katie like, all right, cool. She gets up, cleans up, washes the dishes, whatever, heads on her way. But before she leaves, I'm calling who I'm assuming is another son because they didn't specify. He just said his cousin. They never gave a name. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna assume another one of her sons, and told him at midnight she has to take some more medicine.
Yes.
So I need you to call about 11:45 to remind her to take her medicine. So he's like, all right, cool, got you. So about 11:45, he calls, it just rings. Nobody answers. So that leads me to believe she had no answering machine. So it just rings. Yeah. He waits a few minutes after he hangs up and calls back again. This was at 11:50. They said he called twice.
No, he didn't call. He called the
at 11:45.
Right. And she was like,
he called back at 11:50.
I'll call her. So the granddaughter called. Yeah. Like, well, let me call her and see if she answers. I mean, she don't have caller ID. She don't know who's calling. She's not going to answer.
Was it even a thing in 89?
Right. Yeah. I mean, no matter who's calling, she ain't going to answer.
Right. That's what I said. That's what leads me to believe she ain't had no answering machine. But so then Katie calls at 11:50. It rings twice and the phone cuts dead. Now, this is back in the day. If you're under the age of 25, this is when we had landlines. And you could go outside the house or the apartment building, whatever, hit a switch, somewhere in the building maybe, hit a switch, or cut a cord, and you just ain't got no phone.
But they did say it rang twice and then went dead.
That's what I'm saying. Somebody had to disconnect something, because if it just completely rang until he hung up 5 minutes prior, somebody had to cut it dead. So I got to change pages when I'm talking. So the next morning, because they still didn't get an answer from her that night, I don't know how they assume, oh, well, she just picked the phone up and hung it up.
I mean, well, you have to think, if she's sick, she's not in the mood, maybe she took it off the hook. I'm sick of y'all calling me. I'm tired. I'm asleep. Granny has done that before.
And I'm going to pull up, and I'm sure you pulled up at least more than once.
Granny, I'm just saying, but when I was an adult, Granny had caller ID and also cell phones and all kinds.
So you knew who was calling.
Right. But in those days, when I was younger, I've watched Granny say, take that phone off the hook. Don't let nobody else
off.
Right. I ain't gonna talk to nobody else. So I mean, I
was good for turning the ringer off.
Yeah. So maybe they thought, okay, Granny she really don't feel good. Let's go check on her.
I beg to differ, but there's more than one thing can be true. Yeah. So the next morning, one of Helen's sons checked on her at home and found her face down on the floor. Mm-hmm. This is literally how this story is starting. They found a piece of money, a knife, and some blood spatter.
And the kitchen was a mess after Katie said she cleaned the kitchen.
That too.
Yep.
by the time the body arrived to the morgue, it was what it ended up being, because at first they said a cloth, and it was a scarf that they had wrapped around her face so tight, they said her nose
was pushed to
was smashed down, like they broke the bone, basically, is what I got from it. Was smashed down, and they believe this is what ultimately killed her, because of course, if you break the whole bone in your nose, you can't breathe. So they also noticed that her right hand had multiple cuts, her ribs were broken, and they found semen in her mouth and on her hind parts, indicating that ultimately the assailant was a male.
Yeah, and he was a sexual assault. An SA.
An S. Yeah, there you go. This is where I threw it in, but reiterating, she was considered the glue of the family. She kept everyone together. The day of the funeral, the police surveyed the area for any possible suspects, because it's known that a lot of murderers will attend the funeral of their victims. It gives them a rush, or whatever you want to call it. I call it you're weird. But yeah. So they were looking for people that might be weird.
I mean, that is weird.
Because I've already killed you. What am I going to your funeral for? Like, I saw what I did already. Yeah. So, but they just wanted to see if anybody looked like they had been in a recent altercation, right, so they could kind of get an idea. So what they did end up finding out while all of this is going on is that the suspect had a blood type that was B non-secretor. Now, I normally go back and try to figure out what these terms mean, but I was at work. Because I normally do. I know, no, it's O positive. I think that you can donate to anybody. I think it's O positive. Don't quote me on that. It's either O or O positive, but I know it's one of them that if you're, and it's so rare that if you're that person, they like highly push for you to donate blood because it's so rare. So what they basically did is the investigation started off wrong for me. Because now we just gonna test every male in the city that we think might have did it for their blood type.
My thing is, small towns, like you say, they are not equipped to deal with that type of thing.
Especially in 1989.
Or 5. I mean, it just, they're not.
The hell, even now, for all I know.
I mean, I'm sure that if the homicide, and I'm sure this probably not even, they probably ain't had a homicide there since. You know, like, I just, like the man said, this is a very, everybody knows everybody. Everybody's related to somebody and knows somebody that's cousins with some damn body. So they're, and again, you're just not, this is like a big city crime, I guess what you would say. A homicide, like, this doesn't happen here. So these people are these officers.
I think even a homicide, they might have been able to handle a little bit better if it wasn't on the level that it was. Like, if it was just a shooting, I feel like it's easier to figure that out than to the extent of what they did to her.
And also, when the sheriff office is 27 deep and 13 motherfuckers is related, and then like, I mean, there's like, you're not, the related people are not.
It's very biased. It's very biased.
I mean, like, it's very like, they're gonna be looking at like, who are the people that cause trouble?
And that's why I said this whole story just gives me Midwestern America. Just please, after you watch us, go watch the documentary. If you were born anywhere between Minnesota and Missouri, you need to watch this, because this screams Midwest. Just the way they think, the way this case went, even with them taking it out of the city to Lincoln, I still feel like that didn't help much, because they should have took it there in the first place.
Well, I mean, isn't that the capital?
No, no, yeah,
Right.
Lincoln is the
Yeah,
capital.
Lincoln's the capital. So I mean, that's where like the state house is. That's where. So I
Yeah.
do understand where you have to go ask the attorney general. You have to ask. You have to get all this information. And I mean, people from the FBI would come from Lincoln, because they're not going to have an
No,
FBI.
but that made sense when the FBI dude came out. But I feel like all together, let them handle it. Like if you're
I
gonna
agree.
call to Lincoln and have their division of the FBI come out, let them handle it. They had, even in '89, they had the resources. They were better equipped to handle this case than y'all was.
I feel like if your sheriff office is 27 people, you cannot solve this type of homicide.
No, you can't.
You have too much emotion because you didn't seen Helen walk down the street. You know who Helen is. She didn't shop at your mama's flower shop. She didn't came into your coffee shop. Like, it's very tight knit. So you're not going to be able to say that's the killer or that's not the killer. You're not going to be able to say, oh, because this person hangs out at the bar, he's the killer. But really, the man went to church might be the killer. Like, you're just not going to be able to take that. When the FBI is coming blinded, they don't see what you do in the community. They're going to look at the facts.
So I'm gonna go ahead and skip up a couple steps because I ain't really ready to talk about Bert yet. I don't really like him too much. He was a couple notes ahead of the FBI agent, but we're gonna go ahead since we already in there. Okay. So they had an FBI agent from the Lincoln branch or whatever you want to call it come in and do a criminal profile assessment, basically, is what it was. So he comes in. Now, he did what he was supposed to do. He came in and he came to the conclusion that the suspect was a white male, late teens to early 20s. He was very dependent on a mother figure of some sort, so be it his mom, his sister, his grandma, whatever. It was somebody that played that motherly figure in his life. This is very important at the end. Pay attention. I hope you're listening. And has been dominated by this mother figure his entire life. He also may have known Mrs. Wilson personally because her family, multiple people in the family said Granny kept that chain on that door. Because my granny kept that chain on that door. I currently keep that chain on that door. Okay. So Granny wasn't moving that chain off that door if she didn't know who was on the other side. Who is it? I'm the peephole person. If I don't recognize you, then it's who is it? But they may have known her personally and may have also had a past of sexual assault, aka rape. I'm gonna just say it. Rape.
R word.
The R word. I don't know. YouTube's not as sensitive as TikTok, but we're gonna play it safe. The R word. And may have served some time in prison. Okay. Now, after he came to this assessment, a penalty, a fine, a fee, something should have been applied. He told
the sheriff
in Gage County
not
don't do
give
it.
This information out. This is your information to go by. Okay.
Y'all want to know how long they waited before they told it?
Next damn day. Hot on the press, extra, read all about it.
6 o'clock news while you get ready.
The killer is young. Like they didn't tell you to. The man said, "Don't say that."
Ooh, mommy issues. Might have been to prison. May have known Mrs. Wilson personally. This is the stuff we laugh at, y'all, because why would you literally go out and do the exact opposite of what this FBI agent said don't do? So, back to her point of this is why 27 people can't take over this kind of case.
Exactly. This is not, and 27 people that live and are from
and grew up with each other.
They cannot do it. It's not your job.
So, we're gonna bring up Bert again.
Well, okay. So after this, there's nothing. There's nobody getting questioned. The sheriff's office cannot find anything.
They just gave a suspect. All them people just got ghosts.
Well, before Bert came in, they were told by a patron of the bar, of the R&S bar,
Lisa,
that Bruce was angry because he was turned down by a woman, and that someone dropped him off 3 blocks from Helen's house or apartment.
I got details, honey.
Yeah.
So when they started investigating the R&S bar, they spoke with Michael Hyatt.
There you go.
That's who he was with. Who stated he was at the bar that night before Helen's murder with Bruce Smith. And Cherry Bowmeyer. I'm gonna shut up.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. A woman.
I was gonna say that'll definitely get us banned. Bowmeyer and her roommate Jamie. Smith became intoxicated. This is Bruce. Became intoxicated and went back to the trailer of Cherry and Jamie. That tells you how country and small Beatrice is, because it's mostly trailers. But girl, it's the Midwest. If you ask me, they live.
Okay.
No, them otherwise be nice though. Like I ain't even hating.
No, I ain't lying.
Them otherwise be clean. Got me thinking about getting one now.
It's a white woman. She's really cute. She's young. Got 2 kids. Her husband a truck driver. She's in like Oklahoma or some place. I don't know. She's so cute. Her kids. They double wide on their land, ma'am. Do you have a space for another double wide?
Yes. Listen, I've been looking at them because it's just me. I want to own something, but I don't want to pay that much for it. Yeah.
But in 85, that's not what that was. Now go ahead. That's not what it was in 85.
I was just trying to put out there. I'm not trying to say it's bad because because them double wides be clean. I got an uncle that even in the 90s had one with a jacuzzi in it. So yeah. Yeah. So yeah, no.
This is a nice trailer. You listen out. Wow.
No, it's real nice. But Bruce went back to Cherry and her roommate Jamie's trailer. The ladies, they ended up kicking him out around 3:00 in the morning because he was being sexually aggressive. He was doing too much. So Mike went back and got him and brought Smith back to 6th and Court. And they said this would have been about 2 miles south.
2 to 3 miles south from Helen.
Or actually they say miles, 2 to 3 blocks south of Helen.
Yeah, I'm sorry, blocks.
Yeah, like it was down the street. And the kicker was when they kicked him out and Mike came back and picked him up, he said, I'm gonna get me a piece of ass. This ain't me. This is him saying this. I'm gonna get me a piece of ass.
Some way.
One way or another. Mm-hmm. That was his statement when them ladies kicked him out. Now, at one point, Smith lived in Beatrice, but at the time he was living in Oklahoma. So when all of this broke out and hit the news, homie dipped out and went back to Oklahoma.
I mean, if he's from, I don't really feel like it was a dipped out. He was like, okay, I had fun. Bye.
Now that was a dip out.
Yeah.
Because the timing was just too convenient. Now,
for us, for him, I'm done. I did what I did, or I might have did what I did, or
he didn't care.
For them, they're just as fucking. I mean, excuse me. Sorry, Mary. They are just as clueless as I don't know what. Just idiots. Girl, this thing
apologize beforehand. They just as fucking stupid.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
Because I'm gonna just say it. No, because listen, I'm gonna just generalize this statement because there's another way I really would like to say it, but this is definitely gonna get our whole channel kicked off. Outside resources should have been brought in terms of mental health wellness from the very beginning. That is the nicest way I can put it. And you know what I really want to say.
Oh, no. Yeah, don't say that.
I am putting this as nice as I and it's a real statement. I'm not trying to be funny because we're gonna get into it.
Yeah.
But everything considered later on down the line, that's why I say Lincoln should have had more control over this situation than what they did.
I agree.
Because realistically, like I said, even in 89, 90, 95, 2005, whatever, Lincoln was still that much more advanced than Beatrice was. So I feel like they should, even if not all control, the majority of, like, everything should have had to go through them in order to be considered okay.
Yes.
That's me putting it nicely. That was hard.
Okay. So moving on. Now they're like, okay, well, you know, Bruce, Bruce is gone. I mean, I don't know what we're gonna do with Bruce. Now, okay, go ahead about your man, Bert. Because that's when Bert said, I'm on a hog farm and I'm gonna solve this case.
Now I ain't gonna let you do Bruce completely.
Not Bruce, Bert.
Oh, Bert. Sorry, not Bruce. There's too many B's. I ain't gonna let you do Bert like that. Now, Bert was a police officer. Now he
was wrong. And he wasn't anymore.
Bert said he was burnt. Bert said he was burnt out. That's what Bert said. He was burnt out. But Bert was a police officer before he became a hog farmer. And he decided while he was a hog farmer, he was going to become a private investigator.
Okay. Yeah. That's what happened.
That's why I said hit town, because nobody in the big city is going to think they can do both. I'll farm these hogs and I'm going to be a private investigator. So, Mr. Searcy, did I say that right? Searcy? Yeah. Searcy decides he wants to be a private investigator. So, he calls the family.
A license or professional one, just like, you know, me when I think I'm solving a crime, okay? Like, Bert is me trying to solve a crime.
She had to specify that for y'all because he absolutely did not take no classes. Girl. Didn't read a book. He literally was like in the middle of farming the hogs and was like, you know what?
This don't sound right. I'm gonna get to
I think I can solve this.
Because I know two of the family members. Okay, Bert. Solve the crime.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Again, Lincoln should have had more control.
Okay, Bert, solve the crime.
So Bert decides he's gonna contact the Wilson family, and I'm gonna help you guys. Promise he's gonna figure this out for them, and because he felt like the local police department wasn't doing anything. I feel like at this point the local police department had already talked too much because they told what the FBI said don't say nothing about. But either way, Bert thought he could do better. So Bert takes it literally upon himself to start investigating this case. So
this is how you know it's a small town. Because I'm gonna say this. If someone came to our door, just randomly, some random person, what did you hear about Danita's crime? Who the fuck are you?
Danita?
Who the fuck are you? Sir?
I'm going to who is Danita because I don't know nothing about what you're talking about.
But you don't have a card. But this is saying, hey Helen. Hey Michael. Hey Steve. What did you hear about Helen's murder?
And that's literally what it was, pretty much.
Word of mouth, just communicating with his friends. He didn't. Okay, go ahead, my Bert. Because Bert is on my list.
Oh Lord, Bert is on the top of a lot of folks' lists at this point. Wonder how Bert doing. Anyway, the first person that Bert talked to was Lisa Portendorf.
Well, she's not the first one. She's the first one that gave him some answers that may or may not have been what he liked, to his liking.
So when he talks to Lisa, she said on the night of the murder. Now again, go back to this is somebody he done seen around town. They might not be besties, but it's a small town. Everybody know everybody. Because we got in a lot of trouble.
She's an informant. A 17-year-old girl is an informant because Lisa's 17 at this time.
In a town like Beatrice, I can believe that.
Okay. I mean, I'm not. Kids get in trouble. A 16-year-old can be an informant, but in a small town, she's an informant. On what? Stealing bikes? What the fuck are y'all doing there? What is she informing you on?
We're going to end up with a part 2 of this because this is so ridiculous.
Idiots are just pissing me off.
Nah, you. This is why I said we need to record tomorrow. Anyway.
I mean, I'm already upset, but I mean, this was ridiculous stuff. Because when I first watched it, I was like, this is crazy.
No, it was some stuff when I was at work. I completely forgot what I was doing on my job. Because I was like,
I was like, let me rewind that. Let me put quotation with the and say, because this is ignorant shit.
Rewind parts in this.
Yeah.
So she said she saw a car pull up to Helen's driveway. Apparently, Lisa lived like right across the street from Helen or somewhere within the vicinity of that block, I'll say. Mm-hmm. And she saw somebody pull up to Helen's driveway, and she identified the occupants of the vehicle as Tom Muslow, Joseph White, and Joanne Taylor. Yeah. She said when she woke up the next morning and noticed a bunch of police cars outside, she was talking
7:30 because school was she was going to school. Okay.
Yeah, 7:30 in the morning. She saw police cars outside, and she was talking to Joanne about it. And just because Joanne thought it was a good topic of conversation, Joanne was like, "Yeah, you remember Miss Helen?
You know them. That's why the police here. Helen.
Yeah, she got killed in there last night. Nigga, you wanna know who did it? You wanna know who did it? It was me.
Okay.
It was me, because people just volunteer information. Like, not to say people don't, because I've seen some stories where they have, but just that's real casual before going to school on a Thursday or whatever day of week that was. I ain't even had no cereal yet. What?
Girl.
Even in high school, I'm still watching MTV Jams trying to wake up. What are you talking about?
But Joanne is outside telling Lisa, the 17-year-old, and Joanne at this time is 21, telling her, oh yeah, Helen.
No, but let's go back. It's a small town. And
it is.
Well, I'm about to say, because even in like when we was in Michigan,
no,
it was people kicking it with high schoolers that shouldn't have been.
I get it. And it was wrong. And I thought it was weird then. And I'm saying it's weird now.
Yeah, it's super weird.
It's super weird every time.
Yeah. But that's that small town vibe, for lack of a better definition.
Somebody from Detroit needs to come investigate a murder in Monroe. I mean, I don't understand why Monroe would be investigating their own murder. I just don't understand.
Monroe, go on, take your PTO this investigation, because we don't need it. So basically, Lisa saying like Joanne just gave her all the juice on what happened.
The tea, honey.
And so in 84, so we're gonna go 5 years prior. Joseph.
No, not 5 years. This is happening in 85.
I'm thinking 89 when they got convicted. Sorry.
That's when but 85 is when it happened. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I was thinking 89 when they got convicted. My bad. So the year prior, so that makes it even worse. I tried to give Buddy some leeway.
No.
The year prior, Joseph, one of the named people in the vehicle, Joseph White, was convicted of trying to kick in another lady's door. Now, knowing now, after watching the whole thing, was it Joseph?
Girl, bye.
Was it? But Joanne and Joseph, wait a minute. Joanne and Joseph fled after Beatrice came up murdered. They dipped out. Word is they went to California. That's what the word is.
Well, yeah, okay, yes.
Yeah, that's what the word is. They went to California. So the detective Searcy,
who's named himself detective,
PI, he went to Tom's house and told him his name was mentioned. and being seen at the scene of the crime on the night of the murder. Now, Tom is the third person that have been said to be in that vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Tom stated he was at work at Marshall's truck stop.
Yes.
So the detective, I'm using this real loosely until it's actually a thing for him again. So the detective goes to his job. All of this is without any type of police authority.
No.
Nothing. So like Todd said, you're just talking to a friend at this point. You're talking to your neighbor, somebody you went to high school with. Like, this is not like legitimate, admissible information. If we're being honest.
This is how you know you live in a small town, because Bert would have came to my door and I would have said, Bert, go tie your hogs. Get the fuck out of my face. Okay, sir?
Bert, when you become a detective? Bert, you told me I was gonna have a half a slab of hog next weekend. How you gonna do that and investigate?
And you here asking me questions when I the hell out of here, Bert.
I'm already planning to make pot roast for Sunday. Then I got my collard green.
You playing detective around this mother. Bert, Bert, get your ass home.
Anytime for you to feed them hogs. I need my chitlins in time for Thanksgiving. Get out my face. This was February. It happened, so I need them for Easter. Get out my face. Get out my face, Bert. I need my chitlins.
Lord.
Again, we are not laughing at Helen's death. Let's not get off track here.
No.
But on the night, I don't went back up to the top of the page. My bad. So he said he was at work. Bert checks with his supervisor. We're talking about Tom. And the supervisor's like, nah, he called in sick that night.
Mm-hmm.
He never even came in.
Mm-hmm.
So now he wants to contact the police.
Right.
So Bert takes that information to the police department in Beatrice, and they ignored him, as they fucking should.
Not even, they asked him, come on now. Go ahead. What's your business? As I said, the sheriff said, ignore him. Do not entertain this man.
They were ordered to not go along with it at all.
That wasn't good for Bert.
It wasn't.
So Bert decided,
was like, what you found has nothing to do with our investigation, if for no other reason, because they didn't go into detail. But yeah, everything that you gathered is hearsay. There's nothing that's gonna stick in court. Essentially, that's why they told him, go about your business, Bert. I bought 3 hogs from you 2 months ago. I still ain't got my hogs. What's going on, Bert? I need one for Easter, Christmas, and Thanksgiving. Where my hog, Bert? I'm thinking about roasting one for the 4th,
Bert
maybe.
Said,
I need an extra one.
That ain't it. I'm going to get myself hired.
Bert is silly, because I almost said something else. Bert is silly, because the way they buy pork out here and sell it, I never went back to being a police officer. Me and my hogs is going to live happily ever after. Anywho, they ignored him. Police tried hypnosis. They tried psychics. It's crazy how they really depended on psychics back in the day. They tried psychics. They tried all kind of stuff. They questioned several people. They done went through a whole lineage of suspects. They never got basically what they were looking for. So 4 years goes by with nothing. They don't have nothing. So in this time, Bert starts taking himself serious. And he applies to the Gage County Sheriff Department. And they hired.
Okay.
They hired him.
And then you get hired, don't do shit else but focus on Helen's murder. Yeah. And I'm not saying that no one should focus on her murder.
But that shouldn't have been his first case after being gone for years.
So long. But you took that would have been like, dude, you don't come in as an officer and just come as sheriff, and then you just come in trying to investigate some shit. Sir, pull some people over first. You know, work your way up. No, he said no. I'm
Dude,
here only.
security. You want to be security?
He only here to do this one thing. Hire me so I can solve this crime the right way.
And they was just like, okay,
solve it.
But see, again, that's another sign of small towns or smaller cities. It's a competition.
Or somebody that knows somebody, let him come on the force, and then said,
it was Dick, aka Richard. It was Dick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call him Dick because that's what they called him, but I mean it in another way.
I really feel like people shouldn't call Richard Dick.
I don't know how they got Dick out of Richard or Bill out of William. Never will understand that.
Yeah. Nope.
Got an uncle named John, but we called him Pete. I don't get it. So serious right now. I got an uncle named John, but his nickname was Pete. It's crazy to me. That again, that's that country Midwestern stuff I just no longer question. So now Bert is actually a police officer. He's officially a detective again.
Just an idiot.
By default. They was just like, here, we passing out detective badges here. So the very first person he called back after officially being the police officer was Lisa, unreliable ass. And her story was the same, according to Detective Burt. The rest of this, I'm going to say, is according to Detective Burt.
Jesus Christ.
But her story stayed the same. She never changed nothing. He asked why she never came forward, which he should have asked first time while he was playing detective. But he asked why she never came forward. And she said because Joanne Taylor had threatened her. But my thing is, if she threatened you then and y'all still in the same city now, it should still stand.
But my thing is, if she threatened you, you were scared. Why are you telling Bert? You shouldn't be telling nobody.
No, that's what I'm saying. Your fear should still stand if y'all in the same city or whatever. Like, she know you still in Beatrice, so she can still find you. Because places like that are like mostly farmland. So either you in the city or you out on the farm, which is where Bert should stay. But anyway, this is where Deborah Sheldon comes in. They're saying that. Go ahead.
No, you kind of messed up.
What I miss?
Because Deborah didn't come in until somebody got arrested.
I did skip a whole part. Go ahead.
Okay, so she says that that's her story, that Joanne was there.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all Bert is working with. So a Thomas Winslow and a Cliff Sheldon are arrested and charged with, I believe it was battery.
So I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna read it off exactly how they said it. I think I got my notes a little bit backwards because I think that might have happened. I can tie it into it, whatever. But anyway, so prior to Deborah being brought in, Thomas Winslow and Cliff Sheldon, which Cliff kind of recruited Tom. Let's be real, because Tom was at work and Cliff.
And Tom is not. Right.
Tom is green as grass. We gonna say that.
Tom is not.
No, he studies alone. He was just looking for friends, basically. So
you can tell that he was looking for some friends.
Yeah, like I said, green as grass. So Cliff comes in off the road. He said he riding his motorcycle. It was raining bad that night. He didn't want to keep riding. Mm-hmm. So Tom is like, "Oh well, you can stay with me or whatever kind of thing." And this is when they start kind of hanging out, and they didn't specify if it was that night or sometime within that week. But
they never specified what it was. All they said was this happened. They were arrested for this, and then Cliff spoke.
So I'm gonna say what they was arrested for.
Go ahead.
And again, I'm saying what was said in the documentary. This is not me just being cited. So
Tom called it fag.
They were going to roll a fag. Now, let me tell you how green I am. Because the last time I heard that term was when you roll tobacco like a cigarette by hand. That's what I thought they were talking about.
I know what they were talking about.
So I'm like, they was about to do that and maybe throw a little extra in it. That's what I thought. But when they said it, apparently at that time, rolling a fag meant finding someone that was gay, bisexual, whatever, and robbing them. Essentially, that's what you gonna roll them up. It made sense once they said it. I was like, oh, okay, but that's not what I thought initially.
I had never heard.
So, but they're gonna go do that. So then Tom is green as grass, and he goes along with it because he wants some friends. They get there. They had a whole signaling process that they did. They found their victim essentially, and what was supposed to again just be a robbery, Cliff ends up like beating the oblivion out of this poor dude. He was the clerk of the hotel that they were supposed to be staying at. So they get arrested and charged with that, and because that had happened,
Cliff said.
Cliff, right. Oh yeah, go ahead. That's what
now Cliff said, I don't want to go to jail. And I know why you don't want to go to jail, Cliff. Okay? I know why. Mm-hmm. I know why you beat that man that was gay. Mm-hmm. I know why. Okay. Mm-hmm. But okay, you don't want to go to jail. So Cliff implicates.
Implicates.
I
can't even say implicates. He snitched. He said
on his wife?
Not at the time they weren't married, but they were definitely in a relationship.
Yes, your long-term girlfriend. I mean, I don't know where somebody you're doing it to. This is a person that you have a daughter with her.
We not on the best terms right now, but I don't have him pegged for turning me over to them people. I just don't.
I feel like even if I did the crime, I still wouldn't be told on. You know what I mean? Like, who you just okay. So yeah. Now Deborah then did it. But no, they were married because when she took her mug shot, she was very much Deborah Sheldon.
Oh, okay, well they were married.
They were married. So Deborah is now being questioned. Jesus Christ, poor bit of Deborah. Deborah didn't have a chance.
So no, she didn't.
No.
So the story goes per Deborah.
Oh my God.
Her, Joanne, Tom, and Joseph all went to, we're going to call her Miss Helen. Went to Miss Helen's house. And they made Deborah the front person. And I say the front person because Deborah was the one that knocked on the door.
And Deborah, the grandson, Bob, did say that Deborah is related to Helen.
Yeah, she's like a great niece or something.
Exactly. Okay, so she does know her. They're not like
close.
Right, but she does know who she is. So this is okay.
It was easier to put her in the front because Miss Helen was more likely to open the door because it was somebody she was familiar with. So when they recruit Deborah, she's like, well, what are we going over here for? And they're like, oh, I need to talk to her about something. And like, what you need me for? If you need to talk to her, is my thing. So she knocks on the door. When she knocks on the door, she thinks she's letting Deborah in. This is Miss Helen thinking she's letting Deborah in. But as Deborah's walking in, allegedly, and I'm saying that with all my heart, allegedly, the rest of them, we ain't even got to that number yet. Allegedly, they all bum rush behind Deborah, causing Deborah to low-key, I think, push into Miss Helen and knock her over. Because they're like, Joseph did it, but it's like if everybody, according to what y'all saying, is just bum rushing the house, and Deborah's the only thing keeping them from touching Miss Helen, anybody could have knocked her over. But once she was knocked over, at some point, she was able to get up and headed for the phone. When Miss Helen gets to the phone, Joseph snatches the phone, pushes her out the way, and then pushes her into a bedroom where they say this assault commenced to happen. And this is where everything happened, was in the bedroom. This is where they found the knife. This is where they found the blood. This is where it happened. So after he done turned Deborah in, now Deborah got to try to make sense out of this situation. We find like she was the perfect like pawn. I hate to say it.
Deborah said, if my husband said it's true, then it's true.
It's sad. And we ain't got but 5 more minutes. So now, and this is why it's taking so long. We're gonna have our commentary no matter what, but ultimately, I don't know what that was. Ultimately, compliment. Because we started too late and just a lot going on today. But ultimately, we have to end up going over 6 different suspects. And everybody has their own individual story, their own individual background, and how they got drug into this. So I think I'm gonna cut it off now before we even start on Joanne's background. Y'all getting some good stuff out of us. That shout out to Todd. She finding all these part 1 and part 2 stories.
I was just like, oh, mind over motor. This sounds good.
I mean, I'm not mad at
the mug shots. I thought it was gonna be like episodes of each different person, like you know how like or something, And that wasn't it. I was like, well, damn.
Yeah, no. So like,
this reminds me a lot of different shows I've watched, like the Memphis 3. Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no. I don't, wait, are those the 3 boys that was accused of killing a little boy in the lake?
A couple boys in the lake. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I think I remember.
It was the Memphis 3, and it was one more that I watched. The Ida murders that was in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I've seen that one.
Okay, that one's good too. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm gonna say this: it saves us having to try to figure out a different story every week for the last couple stories because the details, child. But no, this one is I thought we were going to be able to get it in an hour, but there was, as always, there's some information she catches that I don't, and vice versa. And plus our commentary. But before we start on Joanne, because our commentary is needed. I don't care. We got great reviews on one video.
I mean, we told you the name of the documentary. You can put it
right. No, you really can just go watch it. But if you want to laugh a little, if you're feeling too sad when you get done, just come back over here. But we'll start part 2 with Joanne's story because again, we have 6 different suspects. We have to go through trial. We have to go through exoneration. It's a roller coaster of emotions.
And it really is.
And no, it seriously is. Like I ain't never been this outdone.
I said, I'm crying. It's so sad.
I ain't cry. It was some parts that I was just like, but I didn't cry. No. So we are going to go ahead. We'll start with Joanne for next week.
So Deborah's got caught now. She's the killer.
Or is she? Yeah. Tune in next week. Tune in next week for more.
Your husband who tells the truth. Definitely the killer.
But no, as always, be safe. Oh, I don't even know what to say because we ain't done yet. Be safe. Don't live in a small town and commit a crime. I'm gonna say that. Don't
commit any crime.
Don't commit a crime at all, people. But I'm just saying, if you gonna do it,
if you
do it somewhere where they have a proper judicial system. That's what I'm saying.
And if you are in a small town and someone is murdered, please call the FBI and let them do their job.
No, seriously, don't call your local police department. Go straight to the FBI. Don't call them people. Because you're going to call Miss Diane that used to babysit you after school because your mama was working third shift. Jesus. Please call anybody but your local police department because it ain't going to never get solved or it's going to be botched. But until next time, be safe, keep cute, and we'll see y'all in part 2 next week.